Hey everybody, I'm Katallina, and today we're here to talk about episode 1 of The Most Notorious Talker Runs the World's Greatest Clan. Some of you might be surprised to see this video here today, and I wouldn't blame you because this wasn't something that actually made it onto my pre-season release potential schedule. It was nowhere to be found. I had seen the cover of this, I had caught a quick glimpse here or there, and I hadn't really looked into it any further, but that was definitely a mistake. Fortunately, my brother was like, "Hey sis, have you looked at this one?" Which led me to check out the episode, because if he recommends something, I will gladly check it out, because why not? And he watches pretty much every action, adventure, isekai, fantasy, whatever anime that comes out, and checks it out at the start of a season. So if I missed something, he probably didn't. And I'm very glad that he brought this one up, because this is definitely something that is right up my street. There is so much here that I really like, and this opening episode is something that I thought was very solid and in many ways very impressive. I like how we start with the build into the emotional connection between our main character and his grandfather. I like the interactions with his clanmates or his party mates or whatever the hell they are right now. I like how things progress throughout the episode. So let's dive in a bit more into the details and really get into the meat of what makes this compelling and what managed to make it be able to get a video on my channel despite the fact that it wasn't in my pre-season video. The first thing we should really talk about, obviously, is our main character, Noel. He definitely has an interesting design, and his personality seems quite entertaining and in its own way unique. I mean, he definitely seems like he's going to run the more edgy part of the spectrum, which is fine by me. I do not mind an edgelord character. I like the balance that they show in some of the scenes with him between his more sentimental side, especially when he's younger and the situation is happening with his grandfather, as opposed to his personal determination and grit in actually wanting to complete his dreams and goals. I think both of those things are incredibly valuable assets in a character, both on a audience empathy level and on a just, is this a decent person level? So it's cool to see both of these things in the same character, because very often you can have a problem where a character only really has one note, and we're seeing right away from word go that that is not strictly the case with this person. I like the fact that the grandfather was so determined to help him and teach him and everything, despite the fact that he got what he believes to be the weakest class. And it does seem like there's definitely some cultural animosity toward him for what he is, which is definitely a downer, but which will undoubtedly prove useful as the story progresses, because that sort of behavior is something that can lead to interesting story conflict, which will definitely, at least potentially, pay off moving forward. I also thought it was interesting seeing how the fights actually work. His combat abilities and his impact on his party sort of give me a feeling between a Fire Emblem tactician mixed with a Final Fantasy bard. I think it's really cool how he actually can impact the overall field of battle, and how aware he actually is of what's going on and what's happening to his teammates, and how he's able to help coordinate and time their actions, almost like he's playing them like they are a video game. But at the same time, that's not entirely, of course, what's going on. This is real time. This is all happening in the same world. This isn't somebody who's some sort of out of world experience. And his skills when he does the talking and he impacts the characters remind me a lot more of a bard. But instead of being a character where they're whiny and cowardly like something like Edward from Final Fantasy IV, this guy has guts. This guy doesn't just do the stuff to help his team. This guy isn't casting some kind of like song or dance or whatever and then hiding in the shadows. Oh no, this guy actually risks his ass in the fight that we see him go through, and if his timing had been off by 1 second, he would have been dead meat. Now, I mean, there is a certain level of like lack of caution and bravado and stuff going on in that kind of fight, but it also shows the kind of guts and determination that this character has, which makes it much more convincing to me that he actually wants to be as powerful and as respected as we see him set forward to be in his intent, and I think that's really cool. The last thing, of course, that we need to touch on in this first video is what happens with his party, because it's super interesting and they really pulled a fast one on us, in my opinion. Because when we're seeing everything going on after the battle, initially it looks like Walter is going to be the total asshole that we're all going to hate and who is going to drive me up the wall, and it's all really like chill and we think that this party is pretty cool overall, and our main guy there, Noel, he seems to be okay with the other people, Lloyd and Tanya, and everything seems like it's kind of just going in a straight-laced fashion until suddenly, at the end of the episode, Walter busts in on us at our house and is like, dude, we have trouble. And it turns out that Lloyd and Tanya have basically went, go on, take the money and run, and have basically left our other 2 party members high and freaking dry, which is wild because the party had hypothetically just decided to open up a guild, or a clan rather, and our main guy there, Noel, had actually supported this with 7.2, I believe it was like million, I think they call it Phil, it's kind of like Gil from Final Fantasy, and like that much of the money was purely his, probably I would assume like an inheritance from his grandpa or something maybe, I don't know. But it seems like these other 2 jerks have just totally taken the entire party's money funds and have just up and left. So that's gonna be something going forward. There's definitely gonna be some heat as things move on and things go down, because you don't do something like that to somebody in a community-based story like this without there being some kind of consequences. Obviously, when I've been in guilds and stuff, it's been inside of video games, but I mean, I've seen how shit goes down with that kind of stuff in games, and it's fugly. So just imagine what that would be like in a real life context. That is no picnic. That is absolutely inexcusable. And I really hope that these 2 who have done this to their teammates end up ultimately eating crow and being very, very sorry. It was a really great way to end the episode. It definitely piqued my interest, and it definitely made me very curious to see just what will happen next week, because from the title of this show, it seems very clear that one of the objectives that our characters are going to have is the creation and maintenance of having a guild. So obviously this isn't just going to go away, and it's going to be interesting to see how Noel and how Walter, if he sticks around, are going to actually be able to move forward, given that they've just totally been left high and dry by these other party members. Scumbags. Anyway, those are my thoughts, but I'd love to know what you guys are thinking. Did you guys watch this one? Do you have any interest in this one? I'd love to know. So drop a comment below and let me know, and I'll talk to you in the next video. See you later. Bye!